Welcome to Attic Raiders Retro Reviews, where today we're going to be taking on a game with cops and criminals and trying to escape from prison in today's game, Jailbreak. Jailbreak was released in 1982 by Waddingtons, a company which has become renowned throughout the board game world as one which produces really innovative and quality games. Games like Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs and Escape from Atlantis. Games which feature beautiful three-dimensional boards, fantastic artwork on the game boards and on the boxes, and innovative mechanisms using science, engineering or technology in order to get a really unique game experience. As you can see, this game features none of those things. In fact, this game features two of the things which I hate the most in games. It features cards and it features meeples. In fact, that is all it consists of. So for me, this game, its future is really not looking very bright. You can see they've gone for a cartoony kind of style here with the font and the convict and the policeman. But you can see there's not very much in terms of artwork on the game box here, and what there is very simple. Most of this is taken up with a photograph of the game. On the back, there's really even less to see. We've got this maze here, contents list, and a little bit about what this game is about. What we're trying to do is basically there are 6 convicts which are trying to escape from prison, and there are 6 police officers who are trying to stop them from escaping. So the premise is really quite a simple one, but it is a nice theme which I do like. So let's give this game the benefit of the doubt and take a closer look at it. The game comes with 6 blue police cars and 6 red getaway cars, and these are just wooden meeples, and like any meeple, it is just really plain and boring. Less said about meeples, the better. And there are 55 playing cards, one of which has got the jail or prison on the front, and this is going to be the first card that you place down. All the rest of these cards have got yellow road configurations on them, and each card has got a different kind of configuration of road. You can see that the artwork on these is very simplified. There's almost kind of scratchy outline drawings of buildings here. There is some very simple pictures of some animals, and there's kind of the outlines of hedges, but the artwork on these is really lacking. They're not too great. As well as the road configuration cards, there are 6 of these road cards which have also got this kind of red exclamation mark symbol in the corner, and they're going to be used with the red getaway cars. There's also another 6 cards which have got these blue symbols in the corner, and these are going to be used with the blue police cars. But you can see all of these cards are very thin playing card material, and they might work well as cards, but as tiles that you're laying down, I would like these to have been a lot thicker. To begin the game, first of all, you're going to decide who's going to be the police inspector and who's going to be the criminal ringleader. In order to do that, you're going to get the 2 different colours of meeples, the blue for the police and the red for the criminals, and you're going to conceal them in your fists. The other player is then going to choose one of those hands, and whichever hand they choose, whatever colour that is, that will decide which side they're going to play on. The police inspector will then get their 6 meeples, and the criminal ringleader will get their 6 meeples. The jail card will go in the middle of the table. The playing cards are going to get really well shuffled in order to mix them all up, and then you're going to deal 4 cards face down to each player. And all the rest of the cards are then going to be stacked face down somewhere on the table where everyone can reach them. Now this is really quite an asymmetric game. The ringleader is trying to get his 6 convicts from the prison to escape out via his escape cars. The police chief, on the other hand, is trying to stop that from happening by shutting down roads and by blocking them off. Players will take it in turn, starting with the ringleader, to place down one card at a time adjacent to any card which is already on the table. Only once all 4 cards have been played will a player pick up another 4 cards for a new hand. The ringleader here in this case has just got lots of plain cards, so they can place them down anywhere on here in any orientation. This way, or this way, this way, or this way. You cannot, for instance, put them this way though, which is where I think this game has kind of missed a trick. If they had made these cards instead of rectangular, if they had gone with square cards, then there would have been able to be 4 orientations that they could have been put down in instead of just 2 each way. So it would have opened up a lot more combinations and possibilities. Now, as a criminal ringleader, you're trying to use your cards in order to open up as many escape possibilities and routes as possible. So cards like this, which have branching off in many directions, or even this one here, which has got this split in it, are going to be the best cards for convicts. So, for instance, in this one, this convict player here might place that card there, so that these 2 routes out of the jail now suddenly open up into 4 routes. Once they've placed their card, they're going to keep the rest of these ones hidden and make sure that the police inspector does not see them. For the police inspector, they're trying to shut down roads and make sure that those criminals cannot escape from jail. So roads like this, which have a dead end on them, are going to be really good to use, because now I could use that in order to block off a potential exit there, or maybe even there, in order to stop them getting out of jail. Of course, as well as that, these loop cards like this, these loop roads, are also really good for police, because those can be used in order to create a loop back to there, and now I've managed to block off 2 roads instead of just 1. Play then continues putting down cards and building up a network of roads until you've used up those 4 cards. At that point, you then have to take another 4 cards to do a new hand, and then secretly look at what you've got. Now, at this point, you might get some of these cards which have these symbols in them. If you are a criminal, you are going to be able to place either a criminal one or a police one anywhere on here. Obviously, if you're putting down a police one, you want to put that somewhere where it is really going to hinder the police and not be much use to them whatsoever. So, for example, if I'm placing this police one, I might want to get it and put it way out of the way, maybe over here or up here, somewhere where it is not actually being useful. It's not going to block off any roads which I really need. Of course, if this was the hand that was belonging to the police inspector, he's going to be placing these where he thinks is going to be best. So, for example, he might be trying to place one here so as to block off this road. Although, if it was this particular card, it would make a lot more sense to place it that way, because then you could use the dead end here to block off this road, and then you could also use this in order to block off another road. Because what happens is, with these blue symbol cards, you've got to take your blue police car and you've got to place that across any one of the roads on this card. It could be any of them at all, and it's up to the policeman to place where that car goes. So if the particular hand here that I had was being dealt and used by the criminal, they can place where it goes, but the police get to decide where on that card the police car goes. So of course there would be no point putting the police car there, because that's already a dead end, so they're going to want to put it somewhere in order to block off another road. Again, this is not much use over here, but maybe we could put it there in order to block off this road here. Now, if on the other hand I was to place this card, which has got the red symbol on it, that is going to go somewhere, which is going to mean that the red getaway car is going to go onto it. Now, again, if this is the criminal mastermind who is placing this card, they're going to want it somewhere which is useful to them. So, for example, looking at this roads here, there is a road, could go use this road. We could also use this road. So this would be a good place for it. Or up here, using this road would be a good place for it as well. So looking at this, I don't really want to block off any escape routes for myself. So if I move it that way, I could put this here to continue these roads. And then I get to put this escape car on any one of these roads. So whereas the police block off roads, these ones go onto the roads and anywhere. Now I could put it on this road here in order to make a path from the jail to this car, or I could put it onto this road here to make a path from the jail to this car. In this case, I think I'm going to put it here because this gives me more options. If I put it here, then I've only got one path which could get blocked off, whereas if I put it here, then I've got two paths because these cars can reverse as well. So for example, if I had a convict escaping from here, they could escape along this road to here, and then even if this here gets blocked off by the police, for instance, if a card like that was placed by the police inspector, which means that that is going to go to a dead end and you can't escape that way, this car could nevertheless end up reversing and then going down this road here. To be honest, it could even, if the worst came to the worst and it got blocked off down here, it could reverse as long as I can get from the station here, from the prison, all the way along here to the car. I could, of course, reverse all the way around, back there, back onto here, and then try and escape up this way instead. I'm, however, going to keep this car on here just now. Of course, if it was one of these red symbol cards that the police inspector was playing, they're going to want to place that somewhere which is no good to the criminal at all. So, for instance, I might want to place it over here so that when the criminal puts down one of their cars, depending on where they want to put it, it's not much use to them because at the moment it does not actually join up to the prison at all. And that means that on the prisoners goes, they're going to have to try and take one of these other roads, for example, here, here, or here, and get that to somehow join up to this car so that they can escape with it. As the game continues, the actual game board that you're building up here is not allowed to exceed 8 cards wide or 7 cards high. So in this particular case, it could not be extended in either direction, left or right, because it's already 8 cards wide, but it could go further up this way, or it could be extended further down this way, because it hasn't reached that maximum of 7 cards deep yet. And just those constraints of the board size add a whole new level of tactics, because you can decide where you're going to put down cards in order to maybe stop somebody escaping out one side of the board by extending it that way, or as a criminal you might want to make that side the side that you're trying to escape out, so you can place cards down on the other side in order to make that suddenly the edge that you're trying to escape out of. In order for the convicts to actually escape then, there needs to be a clear path that leads from the jail to one of their escape cars, and then from the escape car to the edge of the board within that 8x7 layout. So in this particular example, this escape route is no good because it's a dead end. These two escape routes are no good because they loop back on each other. This escape route joins up with these two and can get from here to this particular escape car. This escape car cannot get past this police car, but it could reverse up here, go down this path here and along here to here and escape out this side of the board, because this being 8 long means that this is the maximum length that this board could be. So this would be an escape route and this car would escape out here by reversing there, and that means that that is one escaped convict there. I can also get from the jail along this path here to this escape car here, and from this escape car hopefully I'm going to be able to get to the edge of the board. Of course this is only 1, 2, 3, 4 cards high here, so this is not actually the edge of the board. I need this to be 7 cards high, so I'm either going to have to build it up this way in order to get more cards and have that being the 7 high, or I might want to try and add some cards to the bottom here so that this becomes the edge of the board here and I can escape out there. The police inspector of course will be trying to cut off this path. As well as the potential for this car, I could also go along this road here all the way around here. I can't get past this police car, but I could go this way here round to this escape car and again follow this escape car to the edge of the board. Again, this is not actually the edge of the board. I cannot actually escape here because for me to escape this has got to be 7 cards high. So I would need to place more cards at the top or the bottom to be able to escape. Now when you're playing, more than one convict can escape by the same route, provided that each convict has his own getaway car. The game of course ends when all the cards have been played or once all of the possible escape routes have been cut off. If more than 3 convicts are caught, then the inspector wins. If, however, less than 3 convicts are caught, then the criminal mastermind, the ringleader, wins. Now, I've suddenly actually spotted something which I hadn't noticed before. Now, I did say that this car could not escape out here because this is not the actual edge of the board because it's not 7 high, and this car cannot escape out here because, again, it's not 7 high. However, what I didn't notice is that these 2 cars still can actually escape, because I've got a route from my jail along here to this car, which could then reverse down here and go along this path all the way along here and come out at the same exit that this car over here did. And this car over here I can get to from the prison by travelling along this path here all the way around here to get to that car. And even though I can't get out here, I could reverse all the way back along that path to this roundabout and then again go out along the same path as the other 2 cars and escape out here. Because not all criminals need to escape out of a different path from the board. They can all escape out of the same place. And all criminals do not need to come out of a different path from the jail. So the more you look at the board and think about it, the more options and strategies and tactics will become apparent to you, which is something that I really, really love about this game. Yes, you heard that right. This game, despite everything I said at the introduction to this video, is absolutely fantastic. I love this game. This is one of the games that I play the most often and enjoy the most, which really, really did surprise me. This game is brilliant. There's a good mix of luck and strategy in this. You've got either 4 random cards that you are dealt at the start of each round. But once you've got those cards, it's up to you what you do with them. It is probably slightly easier being the police inspector than being the criminal mastermind, because the police inspector only has to shut down roads, whereas the mastermind has got to try and link roads, sometimes in very circuitous routes, in order to get to cars and then from the cars to the edge of the board. But there is a lot of strategy and tactics and the thinking involved in this. You are going to be looking at the board and puzzling it out and thinking about it a lot. It really is a great game. And this is one that I think would really benefit from being brought back and being re-released, because the game components kind of suck, but the game itself is awesome. If you took those playing cards, turned them into squares so you could have 4-way orientation instead of just 2, and completely redid the artwork, made those tiles thicker, completely new artwork, something along the lines of zombies, then that would make it so much better. Because at the moment, if you just happen to sneeze in this game, your components and cards are going to go everywhere. And again, meeples, I hate meeples, but it would be really easy to get rid of those meeples and to exchange them for something which is so much better looking. So there's huge potential for this game for an update and a re-release. It's one that I think would do really well. It is really only a 2-player game, but you can play in 2 teams if you want to do it that way. This is one that I cannot recommend enough. For me, it might even be in my top 10 vintage games. Sadly, it is exceptionally rare, this game. It's not one which is expensive. I managed to get this posted to me, complete total price of less than £10. However, I've only ever seen 1 copy of it, and it's this one, the one that I bought. So it is exceptionally rare, which is a real pity, because I think this game should be enjoyed by a lot more people. So for me, this is a definite recommendation if you can find it. Until next time, this is Attic Raiders Retro Reviews.